Okay, so this is the creativity of being, and I'm calling it seeing it in real time. So I spent quite a bit of time on tonight's teaching, and it helped me really understand and grasp this, and even be able to communicate it, hopefully even better. And so tonight is about noticing what is already happening. I mean, that's kind of the goal for every night, but just noticing what is already happening. Over the past 6 weeks, many of us have started noticing things, I'm sure, and you've noticed subtle shifts. I know even in teaching this, even though I've been walking this out for a while, in teaching it, it has taken it to a whole other level, you guys, with me. And when you're intent on something, you will notice. It's like we do put, it's effortless, but we have to put effort towards this. We're seeing things that have been a part of our life for decades, and as we let go, it sometimes can feel like empty space, and we're like, no, okay, what's going on? But over the last 6 weeks, you've probably started experiencing calmer reactions, different decisions, ideas appearing without effort. Somebody texted me today and said, I can't wait to tell you about a letting go experience I had this week. Yay, I love that. So tonight, we're going to slow down enough to actually see those shifts. So I want to begin with seeing creativity as honest and authentic. Wes has probably heard me use this term, our beingness. I don't know if that's an actual word, but it's being. It's our beingness. It's our I amness. There you go. It's honest and authentic. And one way to look at creativity is ideas, something you produce. It's a solution. It's something beautiful that you like to create. I know we've got everybody here let me turn that off so we won't be beeping at us, my email. So, but this is different. We're looking at creativity. It is honesty. Not honesty as a moral rule, but honesty as authenticity. Honesty as being with what actually is happening inside of you. And because when we're not being honest with ourselves, we're performing. I think we've all seen that. We're managing perception. We're trying to be liked. We're trying to be right. We're trying to control outcomes. And performance compresses, we added that word to our mix, compresses creativity. And when you're performing, you're not responding to the moment. You're responding to the pressure. That's a big deal with creativity. If you're just responding to every moment and performing, and you're responding to pressure, you can't actually just be. So I'm not asking you to stop being creative in order to produce. What you create will naturally flourish and expand when it is born from your beingness as an authentic creator. Now, I'm actually going to put that in the chat because I want you to see it. It's a big deal. What you create will naturally flourish and expand when it is born from your I amness, your beingness as an authentic creator. So authenticity creates options. We talked about space on Tuesday. When you're honest with yourself, when you're honest with, I'm nervous, or I don't know, or this actually matters to me, or this doesn't feel right, something actually opens, because honesty reconnects you to reality. In the Christian world, we've heard spirit of truth, lead us into all truth, right? That is scary when you don't want to present yourself authentically, but it's great when you're done putting on the show. And I remember, I can't tell you exactly when it was, but when I got done with the show and I was like, everybody's going to get me. Take it or leave it. I'm great with either thing you choose. Something mega happened in me. It's like when you stop pretending, your brain relaxes. And when your brain relaxes, it works better. That's creativity. So creativity isn't something you perform. It's what shows up when you're honest enough to be yourself. Big, big deal. And creativity, let's don't forget, is not always big. Most creativity in life looks like honesty. It looks like saying what you're actually thinking in a meeting. Admitting you don't have the answers yet. Telling someone how you really feel. Pausing instead of reacting. Choosing what feels aligned instead of what feels expected. This is what I should do. Those are actual creative acts because they are new responses. So the old pattern was performing. Most of us were taught to perform our lives. Be good, be impressive, be successful, be certain, be spiritual, be holy, right? So we stop being honest with ourselves and override our instincts. And I don't know about you, but for me, that looked like silencing what I actually felt. And I did that for so many years. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but I remember in my 30s calling my parents in the middle of, or at the end of, I didn't know it was the end of a really awful marriage. And just, I had gone to the doctor for a sinus infection, and on the back of the door, it was like, if you are 4 out of these 12 things, you're clinically depressed. And I was like 8 of them. And I was like, oh no, shoot, what the heck? And I don't believe that I was clinically depressed, but it definitely gave me great pause at that moment. I remember driving home going, I finally called my parents in my 30s, y'all. And I was tight with my parents. And I was like, guys, I need to tell you something. And you're not going to get a good confession. And you're not going to get a scripture from me. You're going to get real. And I honestly, I think that was the first time I was really authentic. Really at the depth of who I was. And I remember just laying it all out, and it freaked them out so much they got on a plane and were there within 2 days for sure, because they had never heard their daughter be that real. And so what had happened is I was so compressed inside and so just and so filled with questions, and I didn't have answers to. And so much judgment. Oh my Lord. So there was no room for creativity. And so the shift is authentic being or beingness. When you slow down and actually notice what's happening inside of you, which is what we've been doing now for 6 weeks. When you're willing to be honest about what you feel, when you stop performing and simply stay present, you begin responding to life instead of managing it. Big deal. And that response, again, that is creative. And creativity is a byproduct. You don't have to try to be creative. Just try to be honest, because every one of us are created in the image of the Creator. Creativity follows honesty, because honesty reconnects you to what is real. And reality always has more options than performance does. So simply this, when you stop pretending, you see more choices. And when you see more choices, you live more creatively. So I just looked up a few people that are creatives that I think you'll recognize. Ernest Hemingway once shared a simple practice that changed how he wrote. Early in his career, like many writers, he tried to write beautifully. He tried to sound impressive. He tried to write in a way that people would admire. And the writing simply didn't work. And then he discovered something. Before writing, he asked himself one question: what is the truest sentence I know? And he would start there. Not the smartest sentence, not the most poetic sentence, just the truest one. And he once explained it like this: all you have to do is write one true sentence. And from that one honest structure, the rest of the writing will unfold. And it's very interesting. Yeah, it's cool, right? If you even look up, you can either Google or ChatGPT, famous creatives who talked about how their work changed once they were honest. I mean, there were so many stories. And even Steve Jobs, like he talked about that. Your time, he said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And he believed that when people stopped trying to meet others' expectations, their real creative work appeared. And that's what we've been going after, right? Like you are safe within yourself to be this amazing creative that maybe you've been so tired and exhausted and stressed out that you couldn't even see him or her anymore. And so that's what I just want to talk about a little bit more. It's like when Hemingway stopped trying to sound impressive and simply told the truth, his writing came alive. Not because he tried harder, but because he got honest. Because when we're trying to impress, the nervous system is in performance mode. But when we're honest, the pressure drops. And from that place, creativity begins to flow, begins to move. And so it's not about starting with the best perfect sentence or the best perfect painting or the best perfect thought or the best perfect song or the best perfect work solution. It's the truest one. And that is often where creativity begins for us. It's not even possible. I mean, that is what we're doing, right? So a great question that I want to ask you guys, and you don't have, if somebody does have an answer to this right now, I just want to put it out there and then I'll come back to it, is where have you been more honest with yourself lately? And did that honesty create more options? Because creativity isn't about doing something special. It's about being real enough to respond to life differently. Again, and you don't have to respond, but just, I would love it if somebody has something right now that you could say, yeah, like, where have I been more honest with myself? I can see that, but I also want to give you time to think about it. Marilyn, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah,
All me.
I've been doing um like your program, another program, and another program,
Okay, I love it.
and meeting with another set of people. We're going to add another program to my life
Nice. Okay.
last Sunday. And it was like, I don't like this. I haven't said that to them,
Yeah.
but I don't like this, and I'm not going to partake in this. I just decided whose life whose life am I living here? Am I
Mm,
being controlled by what they want to do, or am I going to do what I feel like I'm investing in this? I'm investing in the Fiorella course that I'm taking, and they take a lot of time to grasp.
yeah.
And
Yep.
so I've just decided in order for me to have peace and not always feel like I'm under pressure, that's what I have to do is just focus on those things.
I love it. You were honest with yourself. And
Yeah,
hope
now I have to remember to carry it out.
right. Yeah, but you will. You will. That's why we're doing this the way we're doing, babe, is that we're creating new knee-jerk reactions. What used to be the old response on automatic, the as you continue to just be, and even with these somatic exercises, I know they seem so simple, but more is not always better. And that's exactly what you just said. Thank you for sharing that. And the thing is that honesty created more options within you. Even though you didn't add something else to your picture, you're adding something to you because you're giving yourself space to create and to be real. Bravo, bravo. That's a mega Wednesday. I love it. So good, good, good. And if anybody else, I'm watching, if anybody else unmutes, just remember creativity is not something you perform. Vicky, come on, tell me. It's what happens when you're honest enough to be yourself. Vicky,
Yes.
what?
So last January, I started painting, and I wanted it to just be my outlet for creativity. And then many paintings later, I said I want to be able to earn money out of this. and but I didn't want to reach out and ask anyone for help, or um yeah, the usual route. And so I just got inside myself and I said, okay, where am I in all of this? And
Mm.
I said, my truest self is already um successful and creative, and uh along those lines. And then my daughter reached out to me and she said, Mom, your paintings are really nice. Why don't we sell it? And then so she put it on her one of her IG accounts that does selling. And in like 3 days, I had 5 paintings sold.
Come on.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And in all of this, the mess that's happening in the Middle East, and they announced here in our country that gas prices will go up. So a part of me was getting a little bit nervous, and I again said, where am I in all of this? And I said, the God in me is not afraid. God in me is not in lack. And so I just wanted to stay grounded in those thoughts.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, someone just called my husband and said, "Hey, what's your gas tank like now?" And he said, "Well, it's not much." He said, "Go to the gas station now, the one that's near us." And he said, "I'm going to make it full tank."
Come on.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I never heard of anything like this." And I said, "Oh,
Oh my gosh.
this is God. This is God, because we did not ask anyone." So yeah, and even him, I mean, the change in him also, like he was getting so panicky and restless and all of that. And when I was sharing my thoughts with him, the things that I've been learning also here, and so he started putting it, and now he's also more grounded. He's not as
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a lot of changes. I know internally that start going to start manifesting in the different areas of our lives.
yeah. And what might be a really cool thing for you um, is there may be a moment when you're like, hey, would you like to walk through this with me? And you sit at lesson one and you walk him through it and you guys listen together and talk about it and take him through this. You guys can do that with your spouses, with your people that you're, I mean, please.
Yes, yes.
But I love what you said. What did you say? I'm just sitting with myself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Big deal. That's a really big deal. Good job. And that's the thing is we realize when we start doing it, we realize how much we didn't really do it before because it was way easier to abandon ourselves. And let me just notate something now. Always hear a testimony and go, if it happened for her, it's happening for me. Don't let a testimony come in and be like, shoot, I must not be doing it right because I didn't have that happen to me. Dang it. Why hasn't that happened to me? And I know that our ego, and ego is simply this is not the teaching, but ego is simply anywhere I feel like I need to perform and I separate. Not like we're separating God from the mix, but anytime I don't see my I amness and my union with God and I'm trying to perform for what I get, that's ego. It's really as simple as that. And so just even right now, take these testimonies and go, oh, that sounds just like me. That sounds like my story. And we pull on it. That's brilliant. Good, good, good. And so and I'll keep going. Wesley, come on. What you got?
I love what Vicky said, that God in me is not afraid of this.
Woo. Big.
That right there is worth tonight.
The God in me is bigger than all of this.
No, well, what she said, which resonates with me better,
Yeah, say it.
is the God in me is not afraid
Afraid of it.
of this.
Woo. Big, big, big. I'm going to put that down. In me is is not afraid of this. And you know what? It was just a subtle reminder of the truth. But how massive is that?
Totally massive.
Woo! I
I'm not going to let these circumstances affect me because the God in me is not afraid of this.
woo. That's so big. Yeah. Yep.
I'm not going to worry about these circumstances because the God in me is not afraid of this. I'm not going to lose sleep over this because the God in me is not afraid of this.
Mm. I'm not,
Everything is going to be just fine
yeah.
because the God in me is not afraid of this.
Mm.
Everything works out for my total good, and the God in me is not afraid of anything.
Yeah. Let me add to that. The God in me is not afraid of me and what I do or don't do. It's massive.
I hope I remember that because that was worth everything.
Come on. Oh, you'll remember it. I'll put it in the notes. It'll be there. It's in the recording.
But Vicky said it.
So good.
Vicky said it.
Come on. Come on, Vicky. You just unlocked a bunch of people. Woo, woo, woo.
Can I share something more?
Please, 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 please.
Yeah, there's a verse that says, I'm a new creation,
Mm.
right? And so the way I started to look at myself is my DNA has become so enmeshed with God's DNA that he cannot be separated from me. So anything that I go through, he goes through.
Yes.
So anything I face, I don't face it as myself anymore. I face it as God in me, one with God. And it totally, whenever I remind myself of that, I get so grounded and it's like, okay, I'm not in alone. I'm not in this as just my human self. I am this new creation, this new species that's here on earth experiencing life as one with God.
Woo. Yes. Perfect. Let me ask you guys a question. Does that land differently now? Because it's not the first time we've heard this. We know this. We've sung songs about it. We've gone to conferences with that as the title. But doesn't it feel different right now? Doesn't it land a little bit more intimate? And actually, that's kind of where we're headed for next week. And isn't that amazing how profound that feels right now? Part of it is because we've chosen not to abandon ourselves when it does get a little scary. And that's the moment when the solution came. And what was the solution? The God in me is not afraid of this. I don't have to leave. Come on, Wes.
Can you go over? Uh, you just said something about separating from ourselves. What was the? And I'm wondering if you can connect the dots better for me in what we're hearing now.
Yeah, as far as
You know, to step away from ourselves. You know, because that part, I still am not like totally. It's not totally clicking for me.
yeah. Well,
And part of that is, you know, I've always been so darn brutally honest. It's disgusting because it can lead me to judging and negativity. That's just a side note. But
right.
if you could just um, connect the dots a bit on that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing is, it kind of starts with ego, which I feel like we were all taught ego not correctly. Ego is anywhere I think that I need to take care of this outside of my union with God. But I'll also, outside of my union with myself, that is performance. So, what happens when I'm in performance mode and when I'm in fear mode or stress mode or judgment mode, I am trying to do something to climb out of the hole. What we've been doing is saying, what if you didn't climb out of the hole? Could you stay with yourself? Could you not abandon yourself when you feel like absolute crap? Could you sit there for a moment? Because the thing is we know that God's there, but the fact that we could actually accept us in the most horrible place, right? And not leave. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to turn on myself with judgment. I'm just going to be like, could I accept me not only in spite of all this, could I accept me because of all this? Could I accept me because I judge myself so harshly? God does. And I'll add something else to this that might help. To me, that's where I can go, okay, the God in me is not afraid of this. It's not afraid of my worst moment. It's not afraid of my mouth. It's not afraid of my actions. It's not afraid of my thoughts. What if I wasn't either? What we're doing is we're taking the weight off of the judgment. What my goal is, y'all, is to make all those judgments and self-accusations quite boring. That's so boring. I don't even think like that anymore because it's just boring. And that's taking the weight off of the thing that would cause us to abandon ourselves and stay in the judgment cycle. Like, I can't stay with you because you disgust me right now. I lived there for so long. And be sure and we'll come back to it if that doesn't kind of help bring clarity. But Lorraine, I see you. Did you have something?
Um,
I see you unmuted.
I know. I was going to say something about that. I'm just trying to process that, staying with yourself, you know, even wherever you're at, like you said, like if I judge myself so much, but God doesn't leave me because of it.
Never.
Um, I mean, I'm getting like, yeah, I think there's something more profound about that than it also takes some judgment off of judging. Like,
Thank you.
I don't have to judge because God's not judging me. You did this wrong. You said this wrong. So I wanted to say about myself in the past couple of days, since we had the thing, is I haven't really got to that place of kind of not judging or not accepting. I feel like I've been busy, but one of the things that this is just noticing, like you're saying, notice what's going on and noticing, like I have pressure that like I'm not good enough in relationships, or I'm not, like I'm striving to try to get somewhere, and even thinking about, oh God, what if you're a mother, you just wouldn't be good at that, you wouldn't be good at connecting with the kid or being able to raise them right. Just a lot of pressure that way. But what I believe is that um from doing what you said and actually doing it too, when Nick has told me, or when Lynn Alford told me, like, we are perfect in Christ. We are not, like, I'm like, you're not broken. Like,
Yes.
when I actually literally did that, like years ago, I was trying, like, I felt I have so much iniquity in me and my ability to relate and be with people. And then I'm like, how am I ever going to get out of this? And Lynn Alford was like, Jesus already did everything on the cross. So you don't need, you know, he's already
Yeah.
got you out of everything. You don't have to get out of everything. And when I just was like, well, wait a second, I'm already whole in Jesus. I'm not trying to get whole. I'm already whole. That feeling of iniquity left me. I didn't feel like I was a hot mess for those. I felt like, oh, I am okay. So,
That's so.
so, but I am seeing like this. like I'm noticing, being aware that, okay, this is a certain pressure I have on myself that is not, that I want to just take some time to sit with and not, I just haven't had a chance to do that yet,
Yeah.
and just say, okay, I
Yeah.
don't have, and even your thing too, where it's like, we don't have to try to fix everything and get rid of it. We don't have to try to fix it.
No.
Can I be okay with myself even if this is the situation? And
Yeah.
that for me
Mm,
expanded my situation. Now it's not just me in the situation, there's an expanded relaxation around me, the expanded acceptance. And I'm like, oh, I'm not, you know, I'm not 100% just this thing that I'm feeling right now.
that's
I'm more
good.
than that.
That's so good. And it's subtle, right? Like, again, like we were all taught God loves us in spite of who we are. But that still is a judgment.
Yeah.
He actually loves me because of everything that I am. Because he there's no good, bad, right, wrong. No. Everything about him is good, and his kindness is what brings me to see him more clearly. That's what repentance is. Repentance is, would you look at love instead of judgment and hate? That's all it is. That's all it is. We made it into some big judgment call. And what you just described, even though you said you haven't taken the time to do it, but you have, because you're naturally starting to think differently. That's the goal. I don't want the last thing I want to do is create a program that requires you to sit for long hours. Like, I've always wanted to go to a Joe Dispenza retreat. I always thought that would be so fun, and people talk about how you learn how to meditate for hours a day, and quite honestly, I don't really want to meditate for hours a day. I just want to live meditated, and I do now. I might still go to a Joe Dispenza. I'm not saying I won't, but I was like, there has to be a way to reframe this life in union with the Creator. And something else you just said, Lorraine, did you have anything else to add to that? That was great.
Can't remember right now.
Okay, well, if you
Go ahead.
if you do, just jump in. What I was going to kind of talk about a little bit more, which goes with right what we're talking about, is how creativity and the staying with yourself is response flexibility. So it doesn't always look like art or a big idea. Sometimes creativity looks like responding differently than you used to, which is exactly what we were all just talking about. It looks like pausing instead of reacting. It looks like saying something honest instead of staying quiet. It looks like letting a moment pass instead of trying to control it. It looks like seeing an option you didn't see before. And if we don't know to look for those things, we won't be able to celebrate the wins. But I promise you, just because of what has just been coming in, it's already happening. You're nervous. That is nervous system creativity. And so, as I want to add just a little bit more of a perspective to this response flexibility, and just let you know, creativity is a byproduct of safety. So, when the nervous system feels safe, it regains something called response flexibility. And I'm not trying to add something, I'm just saying you will have different options. And that is the freedom of creativity. That's the freedom of, I don't have to be afraid right now because the God in me is not afraid. And the God in me has solutions, unlimited solutions, which means Aaron has unlimited solutions. That means instead of one automatic reaction, multiple options become available to me at all times. Here's a simple explanation. Threat is one option. That is protect. Threat, my only option is protect from the threat. Safety is many options. Think, respond, experiment, risk, play. Dare I play in the middle of a war? Dare I risk? Dare I create? That's why creativity appears, not because you tried to be more creative or more spiritual or had time to really sit with this. Lead with the assumption that I have everything I need right now, whether I've had time to actually sit with it or not. It is me. It's not even just in me. It's not even just the God in me is not afraid. The God as me, like we are one, is not afraid of anything. Woo! Because my system is no longer locked in defense. It's creative. I wanted to tell the Chinese farmer story, but a little bit differently. Here's a modern maybe story. Imagine a parent with a teenage son. One day the son gets cut from the varsity basketball team. The parents' friends all say, "That's terrible. He worked so hard." And the parent says, "Maybe." And a few weeks later, because he's not on the team anymore, the son has time after school and starts helping a neighbor who runs a small business. And people say, "Well, that worked out." And the parent says, "Maybe." But while helping that neighbor, the son discovers that he loves design and marketing. He starts learning skills that he would have never have touched had he stayed on the team. People say, "Wow, that's amazing." And the parent says, "Maybe." Because the truth is we don't actually know. And the things we label as terrible, even like what you said earlier, it's terrible. Well, sometimes the things we label terrible are the open doors we couldn't see yet. And the things we label as amazing sometimes lead somewhere completely unexpected. So this is the key. The point of the story isn't that everything worked out perfectly. The point is that judgment closes the story too early, closes the loop. When we say, "Ugh, this is terrible. My thoughts are terrible. That ruined everything. This ruined everything. This is the best thing ever." What are we doing? We're compressing reality. We're closing the story. This is the best thing ever. But when we say, "Maybe," the point of the story isn't that everything works out perfectly. We stop judgment from closing it too early. We leave space. We have space for creativity, space for solutions, space for life to move. But when we rush to decide what something means, we stop seeing new options. When we say maybe, the story remains open. So let me ask again, see if anything has kind of come to mind. Can you think of anything else? Where did you notice space this week? Not breakthroughs, just space. Here's a couple of possibilities. A moment you paused instead of reacted. Maybe a thought that felt lighter than usual. A decision that felt calm instead of pressured. A situation that didn't trigger in the same way. These are subtle wins, and subtle wins matter. I'll just tell you a quick story that happened to me. Was I had one of my clients who are in a very volatile. I'm doing marriage counseling with Unlocked, and the husband called me at like midnight. He never does that. I may have shared this a little bit, but he never does that. But he called me and he was in tears, and they'd really had a knockdown drag out. It was not good. I mean, rings got thrown, divorce papers got thrown. It was a rough, and he was like, "This may be the end." And I think I told you I'd taken some like sleep liquid to help me go to sleep. And once that hits, I am done for. And all of a sudden I get this call and I'm like, "Sweet Jesus, what am I going to do?" And it was really quite funny. I was like, this could be really bad. 2 hours later, I don't know exactly how that happened, but in that one, I mean, I didn't have time to do a somatic pause. I didn't have time to be like, "Hey, let me get back with you in 5 minutes," because then he would have been like, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do it." And in that moment, before I said anything, I was just like, "I give you me. I give you me. I'm perfect for this moment. I have everything that he needs right now." And all I know is we had a 2-hour session, and that never happens. But all I know is the next morning, and I was able to remember the next morning when I woke up and I sent him massive notes, and he was like, that was the greatest. Like, I feel like more happened last night in that session than has ever happened. Well, guys, I couldn't be prepared. I didn't have any notes. I was loopy. I couldn't perform in any shape or fashion, none. I had to rely on love. I had to rely on what was already me. And that unlocked us to a place of freedom now that when we had our next session, we're in a whole nother place. Cool, huh? Yeah, Lorraine, what you got?
Yeah, cool. Very cool. Oh, I unlocked. I actually had muted myself because I was trying to get out my cup of tea and it was making noise. But I laughed when you were like, you were loopy. So I was like, you missed my laugh. That was funny.
I
But
call it
yeah, like,
my happy.
and you know, right. And it's like, just like you said, I'm perfect for this moment. You know, you're here, Lord. You knew this was going to happen now.
Right.
You knew I was going to take my loopy juice beforehand.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And I mean, when I tell you, when this thing hits, I'm out. But what was in me for that moment, there was no fear, there was no trepidation. And in fact, it's like I thought clearly and I was like, there's something else here. And I was able, solutions came in that moment that had not come before when I would come uber prepared. I'm practicing what I preach, y'all. I'm telling you. But do you understand that that's creativity? It's like I didn't react to my boss, my son, my daughter, my husband, my client, my friends, myself. I didn't react the way I usually do. That's creativity. That's your system finding a new option. Or here's one. This is really good. I didn't spiral about money this week. That's what happens when your system feels safe enough to not go into panic. When your mind had space to see more than one option. When Vicky heard, oh gosh, gas is going to go through the roof. We've all heard it. And out of the blue, somebody says, let me fill your tank up with gas. Come on. That is creativity at its finest. And when we leave space for that, she didn't specifically, God, would you please send somebody to fill my gas tank up? No, I don't think you prayed that, did you, Vicky? No, you were just like, the God in me is not afraid.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
But solutions came that you did not ask for. Mic drop. That is because you're a creative being. We are all creative beings. Your mind had space to see more than one option. Okay, and let me just, I'll go here a little bit. This around us, and we're going to tap into this next week, the field. The field is the energetic field that's all around us. Y'all, what we're doing with You're Not Broken, I'm not trying to get too mystical, and as you can tell, I've been pulling myself back from that. But you have to know this isn't just about you. This is touching every single person around you because it has no choice. Because energy does that. Energy multiplies. It just does. Because it's creative. Love multiplies. Compassion multiplies. Judgment multiplies. So as you see even the people around you being less judgmental, be like, oh, did I help with that? Cool. Sweet. Right? So it's not only your mind that has space to see more than one option, your freedom, again, because we weren't created to have to perform to quote unquote save everybody around us. Oof, it's a whole other topic, but just know that your creativity and the space that you live in is creating space for every single person around you. Bravo. And so here's one more that maybe you noticed, but you'll for sure notice this week. I didn't judge my body this week.
Amen.
Huh?
Amen.
Yeah.
Good
Like,
stuff.
come on, just hear that. Like, this is like, I want us to all take this testimony. I didn't judge my body this week. That's creativity. Not the creativity of doing something impressive, but the creativity of responding differently than you used to. And so I want to just do the arc again so you see how this all ties in from week 1. Notice how the last 6 weeks makes that possible, makes the possibility of me saying, oh, I didn't judge my body this week. I didn't judge finances this week. Cool. I didn't judge my creativity this week. Notice how week 1 was safety without effort. Your body learned it didn't have to earn calm. It didn't have to earn peace. And when the body feels safer, it stops bracing. Week 2, staying with yourself, and we talked about that more tonight. Instead of abandoning yourself when something felt uncomfortable and going to quick, let's go watch a movie, or let's hurry, let me bypass this, let me go do something else, let me interrupt being with myself. Instead of abandoning yourself when something felt uncomfortable, you practiced staying, being like, it's okay. You are building trust inside. Week 3 was noticing judgment. You began to see how quickly the mind labels things as wrong or right, and just noticing. I'm not saying, like, we're not judging judgment, as one of you guys brilliantly said. No, we're just noticing, and that noticing starts to soften the pressure. Right? And then week 4 was what you allow grows. That was the neuroplasticity, right? You practiced giving attention to safety instead of constantly feeding criticism. And you realized that your pattern was not your identity. It was simply a pattern that had been there for decades. It's okay. And we allowed what is to begin to strengthen. Just what is. And then last week, identity loosening, we realized that we're not only this story about our body, about our finances, about our attitude. We are not trapped inside that one reaction. It's big. That's big, big, big. And now, week 6, the creativity of being, where we notice, I didn't judge my body this week. I didn't judge finances this week. I didn't judge my attitude, even my work performance. That's creativity, because your system had another option. Used to, your system thought it only had attack, spiral. Now, you're just giving it space. And when there is space, something new becomes possible. We're training our system to recognize the subtle wins. So most people are waiting for a big moment that proves this thing that I'm doing is working. And I love, Marilyn, you nailed it. You're like, somebody else was trying to pull me into their thing, and you just knew. You might not even know A, B, C, and D as to why it wasn't right for you. I don't think you judged it as whether it's right or wrong, but you knew that it wasn't for you now. That is such an epic win. You loved yourself enough to trust that, yeah, I'm good. I don't need that. Man, our life gets lighter. It's one of the signs, right, that life is getting quieter. We pause before reacting. Our thoughts feel a little less harsh. We see more than one option. Yeah, right, Vicki? We act without spiraling. Man, those
Yeah.
are massive wins. You see how that's creativity? It's not the creativity of doing, it's the creativity of being. Our life doesn't change because we force it. It changes because we begin responding from a different place. Isn't that cool?
Yes, that's cool.
Woo! It is.
And I am seeing it, like, as I'm stop judging myself
Yep.
so much. It does create, even when I said, I don't have to be different to be loved.
Yes.
I
Oh,
started feeling loved. And then when I started feeling loved, then I was like, oh, I'm gonna feel like it made me feel like there's options. Like, because, presently I work part time and I live with my parents and I live with my cousin and I don't pay rent. So that's really nice, actually. But, and God did say, this is how because I'm stressing about how am I going to do this when I don't have that situation, those situations. And he was like, do you like the way I'm taking care of you now? I was like,
I love
yeah, it's pretty
that.
good. Right. But, when when I did the feeling love, then I felt like, oh, I have options to make money. I could do this, like I don't even know what I could do or not do, but the fear left. And it's like the
Good.
possibilities are there. I don't know what, and I'm not called to do what anyway right now. I'm called to do what I'm doing, which is, you know,
Cool.
um,
Can you feel the space? Like when I hear you talk,
yeah,
I just see so much space.
yes.
Yeah.
I have moments of the space and I love it, but yeah, but but it's also tapping down, just putting aside the judgment.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was even doing, I did do that. I have had wins. I have had wins, but one this morning or last night, it was just like, not judge your body. And when I stopped doing that, I was like, you know what? There's gonna be a man that's gonna love this body. you know, there's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with it. Like I don't know. I just felt like a woman, and I haven't felt like a woman. And it's not that I'm not a woman, but I've had
Oh,
something pressing me to make me not feel like I'm a woman, which is not the truth.
yes. I can
So it was like
completely.
tapping out that, like, no, I'm not, yeah, I'm not accepting that thought or whatever, just not judging it. I'm not saying I'm not a woman. And then it's like, oh, you are a woman,
That's
by
brilliant.
the way.
By the way,
And you always have been,
you always happen.
but haven't felt like it.
I understand that 100%. I definitely felt like I had so much of that stolen from me. Now that was because I had a victim mentality. This was back when. And man, when I took that back, whoa, it's like I embraced a new world of Erin the woman, the
Yeah,
beautiful, desirable woman. That was a
yeah.
big deal for me.
Big deal
And
for
that
me too.
space, yeah, I
And I
love
can
it.
say this didn't even start with men. It started in childhood.
Yes, me too. Me too.
And it's just, yeah, but it's like, and the truth is we are women, but I don't know, not feeling like one is crappy.
Yeah,
But then when you say, wait a second, I'm not going to judge this and I'm not going to, it's like, oh, wait a second. Oh, I am a woman.
I love it. That's so good.
Yeah.
So
Hard
good.
walking around. And you know what? That pressure creates lack of options.
That's it right there.
Lack of options. And
That's
then
it.
when that pressure comes off, it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
When I began to think about creativity and what, because I knew that had to be part of this. And I was like, when I really whittled it down, creativity is when we notice more than one option. Wow. That's a,
yeah, and like one of the thing, the performance thing you talk about, or this like I need to create to get this or get that. There's so much pressure in that, and
yeah.
it also makes feel like nothing is being created, and it also taps down the options. You don't feel the
Yes.
options. You're kind of like I'm like desperate, like
Yeah.
what am I gonna do to create to have that? But when you say,
I,
wait a second, I don't have to create anything. I
hmm,
don't have to, like no, everything. I'm perfect as I am for this moment. Nothing's broken. I don't have to judge what I have or haven't done. Then I also realized you talked about your timeline, and I was like, it takes the pressure off. And I look at the timeline of my life, and I'm like, oh, well, this got created at that time,
yeah.
but, like, I don't know, like you don't have to be doing something every second of the day or every minute or every whatever.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. It's so funny. When I took the pressure off of me to perform or do anything, I started creating differently than I ever have. And it was white knuckling. I was white knuckling everything before, and I'm white knuckling nothing now. I'm doing it from the
It's
place of
awesome.
space because my system is expanding every single day. Even the subtlety of, oh, I see two options today instead of one.
or none.
Or none. Or none. Yeah.
Oh, hide.
Right? So here's something I want us to do this week or this weekend before we hit Tuesday again. Ask yourself, where in your life could you replace, I don't know what your word, this is terrible, this is horrible, with maybe. For example, yes, there is there is an attack going on. I actually refuse to call it a war, World War III. I just am not, I'm not giving it power. I'm not ignoring it, and my head is not in the sand. I'm not watching the news because I don't necessarily know that how much truth is there. And so I'm just leaning into peace. And I don't know what gas prices were before this week because I don't actually look at the prices. I get gas when I need gas. And even at moments when everything I was doing was on credit and I should have been freaked out and going, oh my gosh, this is how much? It's double what it used to be. I remember there was a moment when I was at the gas station, I was pumping gas, and I went, oh, I love this. I love that I get to pour money into this institution, into this business, into this government. I mean, I just changed it. I changed the script, and I became so grateful that I looked at it as income. This is income. There's gas incoming into my car. This is income. This is not outgo. And I just changed it. I changed my perception. So I definitely we have really great prices supposedly right here by us. So I always get gas right here by us because it's a truck stop, very close. But I don't look at prices anymore because when you need something, you do it. But that change in me alone opened up this space from freak out, fear, not enough, into I am perfectly supplied for everything I need at any time. Right? Yeah, yeah. So just think about where in your life could you replace, this is terrible, this is scary. Pick your word, whatever it is. This is exhausting. What else? Give me some things that you guys hit. This is, how could we replace, this is, with maybe. I don't have to judge it.
Long suffering.
Long
Long
suffering.
suffering. Depression. I don't know.
Long suffering. This is depressing. Could you replace that with maybe?
Mm-hmm.
We're taking the weight off of the judgment. I'm not even judging judgment. We're just saying, I don't have to judge this as good as bad. Good or bad? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels different, y'all. Feels good, right? Anybody else have anything you want to add? We did well. I think we did really, really well. Good job. I loved what everybody shared. Does anybody have anything else you want to share before we wrap up? It was great.
I want to say that when I say some of those different things that you say, like I can't even think what it is right now, but like my timeline's okay. I forget what is it you say, like not that, but there's like,
oh yeah,
I don't need to get someplace, or I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I find that helps, and that really does help. That I really am perfect where I am, because the storyline can be like, you're 59, you don't have kids, like no, like when I stop and I think, my line is, like and it's true. Like when I start saying what you say there, it truly is true.
yes.
It makes me know, like God has built things in me in almost 60 years. And it even had someone prophesy that to me when I was about 55, when I was just really having a rough time and flipping out. And she's so prophetic, but she's like, look at the decades and what like what God did in the decades, each decade, what he built into you. And I was like, okay.
That's so cool.
But it did help. And I was like,
yeah,
it is true.
Yeah. And when I finally became really kind to my timeline.
Mm.
And I could look at my whole timeline and it's clean. It's clean. There's no blips because I had a lot of blips where I didn't perform well or where I had a failed marriage or where this happened. And now I got no blips. I got no blips. I have fully accepted every single thing from the beginning because the fact is, it's all true. Even if it felt horrible at some time during that, even if there was great injustice done towards us, we can live with it. We can hold on to trauma for decades. Many of us have. Or we can say, I choose to accept even that right now because I get to own my moment. I'm the CEO of my brain and my thoughts, right? And I am perfect for this moment. What do I bring into this moment? All I know is that trauma didn't kill me. That trauma didn't heal me. I'm here now. I accept it. And love does the heavy lifting for me that I couldn't do on my own. And the God in me is not afraid of even that story. That just, it takes the weight of our past off. Yeah, Vicky, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm so glad that you had this course because when I started thinking of all the things that, like what you have said, all these weeks, and the idea that I'm not broken, I'm
Mm,
not broken, nothing wrong with me. And so every time I remind myself of that when I feel like, oh, this could be scary, or, I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. And I just keep reminding myself, it's okay. I'm safe. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm
mm,
not broken.
mm,
It's like, yeah, okay, okay. I'll take a
Yeah.
and I'm going to be okay.
mm.
Yeah.
Come on. That's so good.
That is so good, Vicky. Yeah.
So good. And that's
And
what
I find when I start doing that, it's really the truth. I'm really not broken. And it
yeah,
really is okay.
it really is okay. That's the title of the last week of It's Okay. It's okay.
Mhm.
Such
Yeah,
I know it's
after
good.
the lie that there was something wrong with me, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, no, there's nothing wrong with me. There's not.
Right.
I'm not this broken, wounded soul that went through the trauma, and I'm still that. No, no, that's not who I am.
That's beautiful. Oh, my ears. You guys are giving me little love bombs in my ears. It's so beautiful. And let me ask you the same question. Can you feel the space?
Yes,
Right?
yes, I breathe. I could breathe.
Yep. Wow. Good job, y'all. This is gorgeous. Ah, well, good. I think we're good. I think we've done well. I'll shoot you guys these notes and I'll also email you with these notes. And yeah, good job. So just again, just look without judgment. Where in my life can I replace this is something with maybe? I even do that. I like make it really pronounced. I just shrug my shoulders. I'm like, because there's an I have a little emoji that I send to people all the time, and it's like, so if somebody starts hitting this like, I'm like, I don't know. I have people all around me that love to talk about politics, and they definitely are very one sided. And so I'll just sit quietly and I'll just be like, maybe. They don't really like that all the time, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Hey,
God is not afraid of this. I love it. Brilliant, y'all. All right, let's wrap this up. I will send you the recording.